Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another vidIQ live stream. I'm Dan, and we are once again doing our weekly Q&A session, conversation, webinar, if you will. Probably not. Today's probably not a good day to call it a webinar. Every month, we have a special guest who actually gives a lot of legal advice. So we're going to be talking about a lot of ins and outs of YouTube and making sure you're staying on top of your channel and keeping everything above the board. First, though, let's welcome in Mr. Rob. How's it going?
Hello, everybody. 24 hours on. I have not escaped from this room yet. For you to understand what that means, then you would have to watch our live stream from yesterday. But I am fed, I am watered, I am healthy. But this internet is driving me insane. I do apologize in advance if about 45 minutes in, my face just turns into Dan talking. Again, that'll make sense if it happens. I'm seeing lots of purple hearts in the chat, which can only mean one thing.
Why? It must mean that Emily's here.
It does mean that Emily's here. It means, more importantly, that the law nerds are here.
Welcome, Emily. Welcome, law nerds.
As they do.
How are you?
I'm good. It's been a busy day. We've done some exclusive things for my channel members today, and it has for sure been a busy morning. So, how are y'all?
I'm good, Emily. I just want to mention, I had a small world moment yesterday. I was reading a BBC article, and I was just reading through it, and it was about, I've forgotten the person's name now. It's
Elizabeth Holmes.
That's the one, Elizabeth Holmes. And I'm getting towards the end of the article, and then it said, legal commentator and former district attorney Emily D. Baker said, and I thought, I know this person. I know somebody who's in a BBC article. And I felt quite honored. Congratulations.
Thank you. As my channel has grown, I have now been in like bravotv.com, people.com, bbc.com, it's been unbelievable. The traditional news media has really reached out and picked up on some of the stories that I'm talking about too, as a legal commentator. It's funny. Some of them refer to me as a YouTube host, like Insider always refers to me as, YouTuber. A lot of the other medias refer to me as podcast host, Emily D. Baker, because I do have a top 20 news commentary podcast that has taken the news commentary like definition to its end, because it's really 90% pop culture, which is still news in my mind. So it's kind of funny to see how different medias refer to me. And it's been great. I love getting to help journalists understand the legal side of the stories that they're talking about, so they don't get it wrong and don't put wrong information out there. And when it comes to the Elizabeth Holmes Theranos trial, it just started yesterday with jury selection. The story's wild, and it's what we're going to see happen in the Girardi case too. This almost, maybe seeming narcissistic personality that's charming and threatening and traveling with bodyguards and private jets and billions of dollars in valuations and wants to be Steve Jobs. Like, this story has everything. It literally is fascinating. So I can't wait to see how this federal trial plays out.
There was a documentary on HBO that covered this.
Yes.
Which I'd recommend. But also I'd recommend your channel. Obviously you're talking about it. Tell people, for the 3 people here who don't know who you are, explain a little bit more about you and your channel.
Hi, I'm Emily D. Baker. I'm everyone's favorite legal commentator, and I am where pop culture meets legal. I've been an attorney for over 15 years. I was a deputy district attorney in the county of Los Angeles for over 10. I've seen some shit. I've done some shit. I love the curse words, and I break it down so that you understand the law that governs the stories that we all want to talk about. Do I sound like my YouTube intro? There we go. I sound like I can now do it with flow, but we talk about everything from, this is a medical fraud trial, but wire fraud is also what Real Housewife of Salt Lake City Jen Shaw is charged with. These types of schemes are also similar to what Tom Girardi was pulling off. And it looks like he now this week owes creditors over $100 million. Like, there's times when I'm carrying like a credit card balance in my business and I'm like, oh my God, I hate having a credit card balance in my business. I like to kind of run, cash positive. And then I look at people with $100 million balances or entrepreneurs who lost people, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm like, why am I so stressed? Oh, I do not have that personality type or disorder, however you want to describe it. So so yeah, I've been really blessed, and I'm just excited to see where it goes. Like the channel, my YouTube channel went from, last November, really, we were just hitting 5K subscribers. Today we're at 151, almost 152,000 subscribers. And that's all been driven by community, not to segue to on the nose to where we're going, but that's all been driven by community.
It's true. That is exactly where we're going today. Why don't we segue
like a pro?
And I ruined it.
No, you were great. But you have sounds.
Where
I
did
need
that
to
come
learn
from?
how you do that. That's fantastic. You've got stuff being produced, all like real professionals. I'm like a fake professional.
Just do that again, Dan. I had to do that at least once.
Sorry, that's the only button I've memorized because they're not labeled. So any other one could be. I mean, we got crickets. Yeah, they're kind of random.
Are the sounds coming through your mic, or are you connected into the back end with like a Zencaster or something?
They're coming through the mic through a Rodecaster Pro. Yeah.
Does Rodecaster go? Sorry, y'all. I've got questions for Dan. I'll be back. Does the Rodecaster, can it feed input into StreamYard?
Oh,
yet? No.
Wait, what do you
Just
mean?
into the
That's
mic.
what I'm doing.
So directly into StreamYard. Can you do video clips with that too? Or just
it's
sound?
not so much that it's like a board that allows multiple audio inputs.
Yeah.
And then you can send them all through one signal, from what I understand.
Dan, we're gonna have to talk offline. I've got questions.
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things ever. So we should talk about community, though, now that we've thoroughly butchered the segue. What is this crunching?
Rob, is that you? What are you doing?
Well, I was about to eat this. I'm going very casual today.
What is it? Is it flake?
No, it's a Kit Kat Chunky. Hashtag we would like a sponsor, maybe, from Kit Kat.
We don't deserve it.
We need a flake sponsor, because then they can ship me flake that I can't find to buy anywhere here. I love candy in the UK the most. Sometimes they have it in Canada. I was supposed to be in London in November, and I'm so bummed. I have to wait till next November. So I can't wait to be able to get back to like doing the things.
I miss doing the things. That's for sure. Yeah. So community, legal, how do these two things fit together?
Legal is just the topic I talk about. Community is really what my channel and my content and my mission has created. And that's a Law-Nerd community. And I can't imagine doing YouTube in kind of a post and ghost way. I always wanted to create a community, and my podcast started creating that, but it's not the same as YouTube. I came onto YouTube 6 years ago in kind of the tech lifestyle space. My channel was a hot mess. I remember when I met Sean Cannell for the first time, and he was like, so your channel is about what really? I'm like, stuff. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, whatever I feel like. He's like, when do you post? I'm like, whenever. And he's like, so it's a hobby? I'm like, absolutely. It's a hobby because I was looking for community, but was not really looking to build my own community. I was looking to join other communities and started doing panel discussions around tech and things like that. As my podcast started to grow, I was finding pockets of my community wanting to talk to me on, Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube. When I started bringing the content I was making on YouTube or on my podcast just onto YouTube to have those conversations, it became a much easier conversation because there was one place where you could have content and then contemporaneous comments, which is the issue with a podcast, which is they're listening in their own life, in their own day. And then if they remember or choose to come over to social media and chat with you, it's different. On YouTube, you can do that in real time. And so when I started live streaming, I was really live streaming to have a conversation about the content I had done. And so I was like, oh, it would probably be easier if I just live stream the content and see the questions my community has in real time. And so started bringing the content I do on the podcast onto YouTube to stream. And then when I premiered videos, you can also get into the chat. And build that community of having conversation, because legal is a conversation. I can explain stuff all day long, but after 15 years, there's times when I'm like, oh yeah, SOL. And people are like, does she mean shit out of luck? And I'm like, no, statute of limitations, y'all. Statute of limitations. My bad. It's like talking to someone who's worked in corporate for a long time and they start throwing out all the acronyms and you're like, I don't know what you're saying. And I don't always realize when I slip into that. So having those real-time conversations means the world. And then my community helps direct content so I can outsource, like, hey, what do you guys want to see? And they're like, this. So the content creation bit becomes a little bit easier. And then when stories break, I feel like I have, thousands of law nerds on the ground that are sending me links to things. Did you see this? This is going on. So it also takes some of the pressure off of me to go find and source everything, because my community lets me know what they want to hear about. And that's because I've really made it clear what we talk about. Somebody can come and be like, I want you to break down this. And I'm like, that's not what we do here. I appreciate you. You might like these creators. So it's really allowed my community to know where they fit, to know how we operate, and to really build a friendship. And I see people by their YouTube handles over on Instagram, over on Twitter, on, in my memberships, over on, Patreon as we're launching that. So I know my community and they know me. And channel growth was second to community growth for me. That was a really long answer.
No, it was great. I'm kind of curious. I was going to ask something else, but now I want to know, why Patreon and YouTube memberships?
Patreon is, they allow me to do some different kind of content that I can do members only content over there. I found the flow is a little bit easier. They also take substantially less of a percentage, and the processing fees are less than they are on YouTube. So I've kind of downgraded the options on YouTube because I found that what my community wants most is more content. So I'm doing a members only podcast that just RSS feeds directly through Patreon, which cuts my workflow down tremendously. So I can just do it there. And my community can chat in a more streamlined form under each post. And there's also messaging capabilities. So I can put a group message together to connect law nerds with each other. A lot of my community doesn't love like Instagram or Facebook. And so having like a Facebook group didn't make sense because people are like, no, screw that. We hate that Zuckerberg guy. We're not giving them our information. And so you can keep kind of the anonymity of a YouTube handle on Patreon. But also I was getting feedback. There is still an audience that just listens to my podcast and doesn't want to be on YouTube, doesn't come to the live streams, doesn't engage, but still wants more content. So it allowed me to kind of blend the two audiences that I have into one place where they can connect with each other.
Can I ask a back to basics question to get some context, Emily?
Yes.
No, we're talking about Patreon.
If you were to say, how many viewers do you get for your live streams on average today, like concurrent viewers?
3,500 on a slow day, 6,500 on a busier day, up to 10,000 depending on the topic.
A lot. When you did your first live stream on YouTube, how many people were there?
6.
Okay, so this is where
very excited to have 6.
Yeah, so this is where I want to try and get to this journey from 6 to 6,000 in the space of 12 months. For somebody going live for the first time and they have 6 people who turn up, how should that creator engage with that community, and then how do you start to build it from 6 to 60 to 600 and so on?
I try to engage my live streams the same way, whether there's 6 or 6,000. It's a little more challenging because the comments go by faster. But I have almost a formula for my live stream, mostly because I'm ADHD and I will get well off track, and then I'll live stream for 3.5 hours. And my mods are like, I have to go to the bathroom. Can we please stop now? And I'm like, no, you can take a break. Go ahead. But I wanted to make sure it was content plus conversation. And so I always have an idea for content. I always keep the replay crew in mind. I let the replay crew know at the beginning, hey, it's going to be timestamped if you don't want to hear me say hello to everybody coming in, but you don't have to say hi to people. If somebody's watching on the replay, they don't know. If you don't put the live chat up, they don't know how many people were watching live. I always say, hey, we're here, we're doing this, jump into content, then I'll take questions. And then I get into the questions. I don't generally pull questions in as I'm talking about my content topic, because then I will forget something or get off track. So I try to make sure it's content plus conversation. And when it's only 6 people, you can have a really good conversation. If you're doing a conversational bit with those 6 people, call them out by name, ask them what they're doing, ask them how they found your channel, ask them what they want to hear you talk about. Have a conversation with them. Yes, it's a talk to text conversation, but it's still a conversation. And I think there are times when there's been a few times lately where we've had just about 3,000 in the chat. And it has really felt like, oh, I can see people today. It's a little bit slower. And it's nice to be able to have that conversation, see people by their screen names and get familiar with them. And you will have regulars that will come to every stream that you do. And that is a really powerful thing, to get to see them and say hello, recognize their screen names, and then ask them to share out your stream. Don't stream for 10 minutes, say, nobody's here, and cut it. My streams pick up or really gain after about 20 minutes. So after about 20 minutes, I will see the jump in people coming on to the stream, because I think that's right around when YouTube starts to push it out a little bit more and everybody starts to get their notifications. So I also share it as I go live over on Twitter and my other social media so people can come in. But you treat it the same way. You content plus conversation.
We are exactly 20 minutes into this live stream. So Emily's just given all of you an instruction right now to share this live stream.
Absolutely.
Right now.
And hit the like button.
I'm not bothered about the like button. Just share it.
I gotta ask another back to basics question myself. You had mentioned that you are making your live streams available to people to watch after they're concluded. And it's funny because in my personal life the other day, I was hanging out with some YouTube friends, and they were kind of going back and forth about, should you leave your live streams public? And one of them stands by the decision to not do that because it, quote, messes up their analytics. And other people are like, well, I do it anyway. And I think that's still a common misconception, that YouTube, live streams for some reason should be privated. So I just want to ask you, Emily, as somebody who doesn't private your live streams, have you ever considered doing that? Are you concerned about your analytics? Those types of things. Help me bust the myth.
I'm not concerned about my analytics. If you go look at my channel and look at my most viewed videos, most of them have been live streams. My live streams continue to grow well after the stream, more than my other videos. I get average watch time, depending on month, between 35 and 45 minutes. So I'm not worried about it. I know that that's a little bit of an anomaly, but my live streams, if my live stream was just like, hey guys, how you doing? I'm going to read the comments. Hold on. I would take that shit down immediately. My live stream is my content and then conversation at the end, so that there is a point to watching it later. So no, I don't think privating. I think live stream is a very valuable and viable way to grow your channel. I actually personally get more anxious about uploading videos on demand than I do doing live streams. I feel much more in the flow in a live stream. I'm a trial attorney at heart. That is the core of who I am. A trial attorney that almost got sanctioned by a judge for making a jury laugh during a murder trial. But that's a story for a live stream. We're on a live stream. We'll tell that story if you guys want to. We'll see how many likes we get to. Maybe we'll tell it. But
oh yeah,
I love streaming. So most of these videos have been streams. Josh Duggar is a stream. Lawyer Reacts is a stream. Those were streams. And then, all of those were streams.
How's your retention on these? Like Lawyer Reacts to the Toddy Westbrook, like what's the retention on that hour-long live stream? Like, do you notice the same hockey stick shape where most everybody drops off, or is it different for you? Are you getting a lot of engagement after the fact on these?
I am getting engagement after the fact on them and still getting pushed. And then when I am live, what I'm seeing is once we get to about that 20-minute mark and start hitting numbers, that stays flat and slightly up until maybe the last 5 minutes as I'm starting to wrap up and say goodbye to everybody and people are hopping off. So I will see it almost as like a little tabletop when I'm live. And then afterwards, yes, I will get some fall off. But that's at about the 30 to 45-minute mark, depending on the topic.
Gotcha.
So I'm not getting people bouncing in and then bouncing out. It's weird because my live streams, by the time I'm done streaming, will often have between 11,000 and 30,000 views by the time I'm done. So now when I put up a video on demand, I'm like, why don't we have 30,000 views immediately? They grow a little bit slower, but sometimes videos on demand are what's needed. I tend to do my shorter, more concise videos as VODs. And then as I'm breaking down topics as live stream, it's just much more comfortable for me to go live and it's accessible for my audience. And we want to have a conversation.
When your videos are when your live streams are video on demand, though, is the retention, are you happy with the retention, like where it's at?
I am.
That's good to know.
And I'm happy with the click-through rates. I mean, I don't know. I'll see y'all in person at Vid Summit. We'll have to go kick around the back end of the channel and get to. Well, Rob, not you.
You won't see me either.
You're not coming either, Dan?
Yeah. No.
Damn it.
We're sending Viper. Viper's representing.
I know Viper will be there. I know he just came onto the team. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, congratulations, Viper. I don't know if you should be out of the bag, but it is now. I just want to quickly show you something here. One of our vidIQ tools, which you can download for free, does show you how even on a live stream,
there's no hiding. That's an old live stream too. There's no hiding. There's no hiding the numbers, people.
What you can see here is that it was published on, I think, the 20. Well, it says it was published on the 28th. I don't know how that's accurate. But then I think after the stream is live, so presumably when it's on video on demand.
The reason it's published the day before is because I populated on StreamYard onto the channel normally the night before. So the video is the night before, and then I go live the next morning for my Tuesday streams. So that's why it shows published, because that's when it populates onto the channel.
I see. It just seemed like it was the video was peaking after it had streamed. In that, what often happens with live streams is that you get a boost while it's live, but then once it goes into video on demand, it completely tanks. But it feels as if on your channel, Emily, not only do you have the velocity when it's live, but then immediately afterwards as well, which is something that's so rare, but can be so valuable for live streams when they are typically long, and you have an incredible amount of watch time that's just fueling the YouTube's recommendation system.
It does. And my streams are topical. So when I choose to go live, I'm going to be live with y'all today. I have interviews, and then I'm going to do another live stream, and I have 2 interviews and a stream tomorrow as well. But when stuff happens, there's certain stuff that just, we don't want to wait. We don't want to wait till another live stream. So we're going to go live and deal with it. And those streams tend to do very, very well. I've had streams that I've given my audience maybe 20 minutes heads up. And I've got people in Australia like, it's 3 a.m. Let's do this. Let's do this. And I'm like, how are you all awake? But the law nerds are ready. They've got the bells on. They want to talk about it because it is timely information. And what I'm finding more and more in the law nerds in the chat, I think can tell me if this is accurate or not. But my community wants to hear my take on things. So even if you can find the information elsewhere, they're waiting for me and for our community to discuss it. They're like, when are we having a meeting? We need to have a law nerds meeting. We all need to discuss. And so now it feels like a huge, AOL chat room with your friends from the 90s going, hey, we need to kiki on this right now. What's going on? And that's really what I've built on my channel, because that's the community that I wanted. I found myself doing consulting work and feeling guilty that I was like, but I really want to know what's going on in the Real Housewives blogs. Thanks. And now I've created my content around the things I want to spend my time talking about too, and talking about with my community too. So when reporters are like, do you have 5 minutes to talk about Jen Shaw? I'm like, 5 minutes is not enough. We need 30 at a minimum. Let's do this. So I get to talk about what I love all the time.
The velocity that your streams have after their video on demand, I know I'm really hung up on this, but I think it's a testament to the fact that you prepare your content ahead of time. You prepare it for both audiences. You know, as you said before, you're not just going live and just like, well, welcome to the stream. I don't know, maybe we'll play a game today, maybe we'll look at some news today. You know, let me know in the comments what you think. You know what I mean? It's all pre-planned, and I think for anyone here that's experimenting with live streams or thinking about it, you know, for their own channels, it's, you know, a good thing to
The other
know.
secret to that is using chapters. When people come back on the replay, they can go to exactly the content that they are looking for and see it. So if somebody comes in now and is like, oh my God, your intros are too long, I'll see my community go, there's timestamps, there's timestamps, there's timestamps, there's timestamps, there's timestamps. And for people who want the feel of a live but can't be there live, I leave the chat up so people who either can't watch for work reasons, time zone reasons, can still feel like they're a part of the community in the stream and see what the community is chatting about. So that's a really important thing for me. And I think as YouTube leans more into live streaming, we're going to see even more pushing of the live stream on the algorithm. And it still blows me away. I'll switch to like live news channels, and sometimes they won't have as many people as I've had in a stream. And I'm like, wait, really? Entertainment Tonight doesn't have as many people on stream as I do? What is happening in the world? But I love that. And I think it disrupts traditional media a bit. And my podcast editor was texting me today. He's like, there's like major Twitch streamers are bouncing from Twitch coming over to YouTube, and announced that today. And I think that's really interesting that YouTube is going to have a streaming push. I mean, what do you guys think about streaming on YouTube?
I love streaming on YouTube. I want to see more features. I think we all do. And when you look at sites like Twitch, they've always been ahead of the curve, as they should be. The whole site's about streaming, so they've always been ahead of the curve with features. But those are all there now for YouTube to take for themselves. For example, we just got clips, and there's one fundamental problem with clips. It's that any of you here can clip this stream right now in this moment with me complaining about clips. I'll never know you did that unless you share it with me somewhere. And on Twitch, if somebody clips a moment of my live stream, there's a whole library where I can go in and see all the moments, all the things people thought were worth clipping, which is research. It's good to know these things, and you can also use those clips. It saves you time because you can, if you want to share a cool moment from your stream, someone already grabbed it for you. And right now on YouTube, like that was why I wanted clips. And when they didn't add that, I stopped being excited about it. And we've all tweeted them, or we're begging them to add this functionality. But we didn't have something we didn't have before has been added in YouTube. The fact that they're willing to give, I think his name is Dr. Ludo, you know, a whole bag of money to come stream exclusively on YouTube tells me that YouTube is not done with the streaming war. They are going to continue to, you know, upgrade all of their live streaming tools as time goes on.
YouTube, so you would like me to stream exclusively on your platform.
For the 200 people who are watching right now, then can you clip the last 90 seconds and with the link that you get, spam YouTube on Twitter?
Oh my gosh. I'm sure they love it when people do this.
I did that yesterday, didn't I? I told somebody to spam. I told our community to spam someone.
Mr. Beast.
Oh, that was right. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone made a game for Mr. Beast and put it in a video.
Yes, I remember.
And so we told everyone to go spam Mr. Beast, which I'm sure went over great.
I love that. I love that. It's just so it's interesting, as I think streaming, well, we're talking about building community. I think for each creator, you have to find a way to communicate with your community. And if you're just creating content and putting it up and running away, you're not going to build community. And it's going to be harder for your content to grow, because your community are not only your channel advocates, but they're the ones who share. I am still blown away. Rob, what you said this morning about the article happens to me frequently. Other YouTubers will reach out to me and be like, oh my God, my cousin just reached out and was like, have you been watching Emily G. Baker? She's talking about Britney Spears. And they're like, I know her. So your community does that. They talk about your content. They share it with others. And that's where the traction is. I now see that when I get shared in articles, my community will bring it to me and be like, oh my God, you're in BBC. I saw the article because my community tagged me on Twitter. That's the first time I saw it. It hadn't even hit like Google alerts yet. And they share it with others. And now reporters see that when they link me, they get ratioed by my community on their own Twitters, which is a great thing. So now I become a more valuable resource because not only do I have the legal expertise, but I have a community behind me that will go look at their publication because I'm in it. And that's the power of community, not just being a streamer,
Let's talk a little bit about your community then. I'm sure I've asked you this before, but maybe it was on a podcast. Who coined the phrase law nerds? Was it
The
you?
community did.
So yeah, that's the way it should be done. What was the genesis of it?
We were talking about being nerdy on stream, and my podcast had originally been named Get Legit Law and Shit. It was when I was still doing mostly consulting for online business owners and entrepreneurs. And it was some commentary and some like business tips. It was a switch between the two. So it was really like, let's get your business legit and let's talk about law and shit as well. And then it started to morph during COVID, really, because I felt weird being like, okay, this is how you can tax plan, where people are like, I don't know if I'm going to have a business in 3 months. I'm really stressed. And then Kanye West like peed on his Grammy on Twitter and leaked all of his recording contracts. And I was just like, I just want to talk about this. And my friend who's in the chat, Octo Nation, was like, I know you just want to talk about Britney Spears. Can we just do that in your content more? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, and on YouTube? And I'm like, yes. And then it started to really grow, but I was calling the group the Legit Crew, and they're like, that's not what we're here for. So we were on stream talking about it because we're not just law nerds in the sense that we are engaged in the law, but I make references to Supernatural. I make references to Star Wars. I make references to other fandoms that I'm a part of, because at the end of the day, I'm a giant freaking nerd. And so when I make references to other pop culture things, my audience is like, oh my God, yes, me too. So, and then I'll see it sometimes when, a video's been up for months and somebody will add a comment because you see them on your dashboard and be like, was that a Supernatural reference? I'm like, yes. Yes, it was. Which was, yes, a Phineas and Ferb reference. So that's how it came about. The community kind of named themselves. And now I just ask them when we're doing things, when I'm releasing merch, I'm like, do you guys like this one or this one? And I'll say something on stream because I say stupid shit all the time. And they'll be like, we need that in a shirt. And my mods will send it to me in our Slack channel being like, they want a shirt that says allegations and shade. And I was like, okay, we'll make it. So I'm community directed, and my community has the same values, that we're here for conversation and we're here to have fun and we're here to use the cursey words and our critical thinking and really have a good time, which is also my community feels around my age. So I always say we're all the same age here. And then on Twitter, somebody's like, look, you keep saying we're all the same age here, and I get your references, but I was born in 1996. I'm like, sweet, I graduated high school in 1996. It's the same. It's fine.
It's the same.
So occasionally my Gen Z friends will just be like, we're not all the same age, Emily. I'm like, it's fine, we are.
So
we're all
community,
the same. It's great.
Community. I am now into 3.5 years of live streaming on vidIQ, and we have never been able to come up with a community word. Maybe it's because vidIQ is a bit of an awkward name to try and turn into something. Tube nerds, I don't think that really works. We've had other ideas.
We're going to end up with vidiots.
Now you're onto something.
Communities do tend to name themselves, but I like vidiots.
Oh, no.
It's like Observe. He calls his community the idiots and says, hello, idiots. And it came from, I saw him tell the story when he had hit a subscriber milestone about how that was in a comment that somebody left. And he was like, I think it was a typo, but I like it. And it's actually a word and it has meaning. And so somebody said the IQers. I like it. I think you take suggestions. People are ready to put them in now.
Hey, vidiots, welcome to vidIQ, educating you on your YouTube journey. It's a nice contrast. Nice contrast.
Condescending. You
it's
really
not.
You need us, okay? It's good you're here, because
hey,
y'all
vidiots,
are vidiots.
Learn from me, idiots. Right, I was going to ask another question. Yeah, that was it. So, the community came up with the term law nerds, which is brilliant. Yep. Organically building community. And you've sort of referenced earlier on that your community is so mobilized that they're feeding you information left, right, and center, almost being your roving reporters, on the street, yes, getting all of this information. So how do you I guess, mobilize a community to help you and the rest of the community continue to expand and make Emily D. Baker and the community of law nerds continue to grow and become even more of a community?
I mean, first I show up with my community. So if
Yep.
somebody sends me a link, I make sure that I take a minute to say, oh my God, thank you for sending that. Or, oh my God, I've seen it. Or even if it's DMs, if I can just go through and heart things, if I don't have time to type out. But I also reference it back on my streams. If I have the person who sent it to me first, I will say, thank you to, Katya Cotton for sending this to me on Twitter so that I saw it first. Thank you to everyone who tagged me in this on Instagram. I appreciate it. I see it. Thank you so much. I call out what my community has done, and others are like, oh, we can just do that. I'm like, yes, we can just do that. Go ahead and send it to me. And I remind them that that's okay, as an okay way to engage with me. And I share my boundaries too with how I'm okay with them interacting with me. If you guys see something you want me to talk about, send it. I'll put it on the list. If people drop it in the live chat, the mods will grab those ideas and put them on. And then if I have too many, I'll put them up for the community, mostly the members, to vote on, because at some point it's too many and I can't get to everything. But then I share when I'm launching other ways to support the channel. I'm like, look, if we just need to turn this into a complete media company, I will bring on more people to help me do more research to bring you more content. I'm here for it. Let's just, to the moon. Let's just do it. So I let them know that that's okay with me. And then I tell them that I appreciate that and thank them. And then when I get sent inappropriate things in my DM, I also let people know how I feel about that. I am married, folks. Married. Because it happens. So yeah, you just let your community know and you engage back with them. I mean, if you don't like a certain platform, tell your community where you're going to engage with them. Hey, I'm in the community tab. I'm going to post once a week asking for suggestions. Put it in the community tab, and let them know where to engage with you. It doesn't have to be Twitter. The YouTube audiences that love YouTube heavily use Twitter, is what I've found.
I am somebody, like, I started a new channel, and I decided to not have any social media when I was first starting out, because I feel like that was a mistake I made when I first started my channel. Is I tried to be everywhere at the same time, and I was just starting. So what I wasn't doing was giving each individual platform its own attention. So the Twitter became a place to just dump video links after a while. I wasn't really engaging with anyone. I wasn't offering anything of value. And then, Instagram, I didn't know what to post there, so I would just kind of post random nonsense, and then again try to plug the YouTube stuff, because everything just pulled back to YouTube. So when I started the new channel, I'm like, I don't need to do any of that, and I posted videos, focused on that, and engaged with comments. And then when I unlocked the community tab, I treated that like my Twitter, and only when I felt like it was absolutely necessary did I start to launch the additional social media platforms and build it up slowly. And then one of the last things I did was start a Discord server. And when you start something like that, requires a lot of your attention. But because so many people were available to join it right off the bat, it didn't require as much of my attention, because everyone was just happy to kind of commingle and get to know each other and share ideas. Whereas when you start one early on and you attract that first 20 people, they create this bond that's like unbreakable with each other. They're not welcoming new people, and you're also supposed to make sure the conversation keeps going. So it takes a lot of your time to keep going in there and keep them engaged. And so I think your community can live in a lot of different places, and you reach a lot of different people, and centered all around your YouTube channel. But I would caution people to be very strategic about when they launch.
Grow one first. Mm-hmm. I did not. And people ask me all the time, how'd you grow your Instagram? How'd you grow your Twitter? I'm like, yep. I didn't. I grew my YouTube channel, and I said, oh, by the way, if you want to see like random me making coffee and behind the scenes and me stuck in my car line and having a conversation about the music I listen to when I drop my kids off, I do that over on Instagram. That's all I do on Instagram. I will occasionally post that I'm going live. I will occasionally post now that I have some support in my content creation will post if something's breaking. I'll post like a little slider or whatever. And if you want to just see links to stuff that's breaking, it'll be over on Twitter. But I grew my YouTube channel, and then people that wanted to engage with me found me elsewhere. I mean, there are very large channels on the platform that don't have a social media presence elsewhere, or have one platform and not the other. And that's okay. I think growing on the platform, look, YouTube pays me the most of all the places that I show up. So that is where my energy is focused. It's where I make my content. It's where I stream. And I will engage with my community on the others, but not at the expense of YouTube. And YouTube came first. As it grew, people started finding me other places. I wanted to have others because I do podcast interviews and other stuff. I wanted people to be able to tag me on all the platforms, but I wasn't spending my energy showing up there first. I showed up to YouTube first. I showed up to my community tab. YouTube stories last for a week, and I've pushed subs, a good amount of subs off of YouTube stories. And I love it. So, but it's easier for me to just go live and talk, because then I will mispronounce things, but at least I don't misspell them. So I like just getting into stories and chatting. I lean into what works best with me. Look, if I can just do this and connect with my community, that's what I'm doing.
Absolutely. I do feel like it might be time to start shifting gears. One thing we do for these streams is a lot of Q&A, and I think we'll get to that in a little bit. I want to remind everybody, though, that this is our Wednesday live stream where you have more of a conversation. On Tuesdays, though, we do channel audits, and I'm bringing that up for a specific reason as I fumble in the background to try and get the right screen in front of us, and I don't have it. Okay, stand by. There it is.
I love seeing all the different suggestions for the community name. You've got Vidalorians in there. You've got Vidians is too close to villains for me. You've got people with great the community's got great suggestions.
If you were looking for a channel audit, you can audit your own channel with vidIQ's suite of tools. Just by clicking channel audit, you get all kinds of stats on what your channel's doing, a full overview of everything going on right now, the videos that have the most views per hour, for example, this live stream being one of them. My own video, how to start a YouTube gaming channel for 2021.
All right, Dan. All right.
Has 147 views every hour. I wouldn't have known that if I didn't audit our own channel right now. So now I, can pat myself on the back again and remind Rob that my video is the third most viewed video right now, which is pretty cool.
The most viewed video in 2021 as well, Dan. When did you publish it?
2021.
No, but not January 2021.
Oh yeah. So early 2021. So this tool and a whole bunch of others are free for 30 days if you're a new customer by going to the link down below and getting yourself our boost plan, and you can try it for 30 days for free. And you can audit your channels, or you could join us on Tuesdays for channel audits as well. So just wanted to share that. Does everybody feel like it's time for the game that none of us are prepared for except for Rob? This is Defend the Indefensible, where we go around the table and everybody has to defend an indefensible stance. They have to pretend like that's actually a thing they believe, basically. It's a parody. So if you clip it, we urge you not to use it out of context because that would be rude.
Oh, it'll be beyond rude. I will come for you.
So we're going to have Rob go first, I think, because Emily and I didn't prepare any of these, and Rob has been just apparently working all week on a whole bunch.
It's been a busy week.
All right, okay. Yeah, I do have one. Let me just put this in the chat. I haven't got my scripts to read out, exactly how the game works, so I hope everybody understands it.
Defend the indefensible. You have 30 seconds to take a position opposite of your position and argue it, and then you guys get to vote on who is the most convincing at arguing a position they actually don't believe in. That's why it's indefensible.
Wow. I wish I had that skill set to just be able to ad-lib like that. It's just incredible. Right, okay, I think I'm ready, but I do need to share my screen to bring up the timer.
I spent $300,000 to go to law school to learn how to talk or something.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
How can you do it for $3? I'll prefer that.
However, I will say some of those skills I just learned in high school doing Model UN and bullshitting my teachers into thinking I'd turned in work I hadn't turned in because I always forgot to do my work and then didn't want to have to make it up. So I just pretended that I had gotten it done. It often worked. You'd be shocked. All right.
I'm ready. This first one is for Emily. Okay, so 30
you always ask me
seconds
such hard ones.
to defend this. I think you'll have fun with this one. You are going to defend the following for 30 seconds, and it looks a little like this. In truth, I secretly work for the FTC, spying on all of your content, ready to smash you in the face with a copper violation. Enjoy your $43,250 fine, chump.
First of all, the retirement plan is excellent, so don't diss working for the government. Second of all, you know that we're watching you if you're online, and if you don't, stop being such a weeb about it. You know that we are watching. Also, rules are there for a reason. We're here to protect you, people. Protect you. Y'all say you want it, so here it is. The fines are big because so are the crimes. That's all. That's it. We don't even need a full 30 seconds. That's just accurate.
Oh, you see that? You should really be using the full time limit. Oh, I don't know. I mean, so far, Emily's batting 1,000 for defending Indefensible. I'm not sure after that performance. I'm going to be honest.
Maybe
Nobody's
not.
gone
Maybe
yet.
not.
All right, I'm going to hide that. So who's next? Who's going to nominate who next?
I did prepare a couple of very, very quick ones for each of you.
Right.
So if you want, I can just.
Well, you need to do
Just
me.
do one
Dan.
for Rob.
All right.
Yeah, do one for
You
Rob.
need to do one for me. So I'm not looking at the chat. Hang on, let me just hide the chat so I can't actually see it before I start the timer again. Move. Right, okay, I can't see it.
Okay. This will be a pretty interesting one, I think. Rob, you have 30 seconds to defend the fact that YouTube should only have dark mode.
You see, the thing is, nobody should be hurting their eyes when watching YouTube videos or when on your analytics. I myself now am completely blind. I cannot see anything in the YouTube world because I persist with light mode. It's been very damaging for my health. I think I will be suing YouTube. And so that is why I recommend dark mode for you all. Peace out.
Wait, but that's the accurate position. I don't understand why this is indefensible.
I hate dark mode.
You hate dark mode. See, I love dark mode.
Yeah.
I like it on mobile, but I cannot stand it on light mode, which is why whenever
That's
I do
fair.
the live streams for channel audits, I always do it in light mode and everyone else does it in dark mode.
I always do
It's
everything.
kind of like if Rob like square slices of pizza and I made it. Pizza should always be triangle. Everyone would be like, yeah, of course. And then you'd have to sit there and bash the pizza he loves.
I need StreamYard to have a dark mode. I need everything
Yes.
in my life to have a dark mode.
Yep. Everything dark mode, please.
So we have one more defending Indefensible in this round. That would be Emily to Dan. Do you want to send it to me in private chat, Emily, and then I can put it on the thing?
Yes.
Thingamajig?
I'm stealing it from the chat because I wasn't prepared. So thank you to the chat.
Oh, this is brilliant. Let's have community defending Indefensibles. I mean, it opens up a huge can of worms, but it's exciting as well.
That's good. I'm glad you all were prepared for this.
Spin on what the chat has suggested.
That is an excellent one. That is an excellent one. Okay, Dan, are you ready for this?
No.
This is completely clean. We're not going to get in trouble for this one, but maybe you will. Away you go, Emily. You need to read it out.
All right, you ready? You cannot be a successful streamer and have a cat.
You know, it's true. The worst thing that could happen to you while you're streaming is your cat jumping on your desk. And you could be playing a game. It inevitably steps on your keyboard. Shots get fired. Teammates get killed. Game over. I mean, you could be trying to stream, doing your legal commentary, and then cat scrolls to a different page, reveals somehow your social security and all your information is just right there on the screen because cats. Never own cats. Cats, not even one.
Didn't even use the full time. Done.
You've got to use the full time. That is one of the important.
Thank you to the stream for the suggestion.
Components of Indefensible. You have to use the time. I argue.
That was from Math Adam HD ADHD. Suggested defend this. Why cats are poor companions. I took it to the streamer version because my cat jumped on my desk and smacked me in the face with his tail, at which case I got cat hair stuck in my lip gloss. Not an issue for Dan, but definitely a real issue for me. I am now covered in cat hair. I only wear black. It is my Steve Jobs-esque uniform, and I've always loved wearing black, but now I have ginger cats and there's just cat hair. It just is. I feel like Angela Martin in The Office. There's just like cats falling from the ceiling.
That was that's like whenever someone talks about The Office, that's what I remember.
Safe Bandit.
Yep.
I love The Office.
So
too much.
Yes. I am going to start the Q&A segment now, and we'll probably do another Defending the Indefensible in a little while. But the way it works is I'm looking for it in our. Oh, that's why I'm in the wrong thing, Rob. I'm supposed to be on
the wrong thingy.
It's this I was looking for. There we go. I was in Tuesday's presets and not Wednesdays. Okay, I was trying to find it. That's why I was stumbling around. So if you start your question with #question, that helps us find it because there's a lot of conversations going on right now. And all caps #question would be great. And since Emily's here, we've always said Emily is a legal expert, somebody who can answer questions we normally can't. So if you have those types of questions, please ask them. But today we are talking about community. So if specifically you also have community questions about growing your overall community, today is a great day for that as well.
I love talking about the YouTube things.
Me too.
I managed to find one here as well about raiding. So Spot D321 asks, what's your thoughts on raiding other streams in your niche when you end your stream? So you guys think it's a good thing to do that or a bad thing? I guess we should just clarify what raiding means in case nobody is unfamiliar with that. Dan, if you want to.
Today's an interesting day to talk about raiding, actually. If you're following the streaming universe, people are protesting today and not streaming on Twitch or even visiting the site because there are these things called hate raids where marginalized people are getting raided by bots and all sorts of things. And the whole goal is to just frustrate them so much that they stop streaming. And everyone's trying to get Twitch to act on that. So when we're talking about raiding, that's not in this context what we're talking about, but it is an interesting day to bring up the topic. Raiding in general is supposed to be a good thing where when you're done streaming, and this happens on YouTube as well, there's just not a built-in functionality for it like on Twitch. When you're done streaming, you send your audience over to a fellow streamer. It could be someone you're friends with or someone you're a fan of. And basically you're saying, hey, the party's not over. I may be leaving, but my friend so-and-so is streaming the same game right now. Go check them out. Or they're streaming this thing that I really love. Go check them out. And what happens is as soon as the stream ends, everybody goes into their chat and says, hey, we're here. It's an Emily raid. Hooray. And then, everyone hangs out in that person's stream. And it's a way for everyone to kind of grow and kind of, support each other, which is a term I hate using on YouTube because it's a sub for sub term. But if there were a way to do it legitimately, that would be it.
I personally think that it depends on the community. So in gaming and on Twitch, it seems much more common. I've had my chat raided. I do not appreciate it. My chat was raided twice, and it's because my chats are so busy and we're trying to get to comments and questions, having hundreds of all of a sudden comments saying like another creator's name, raid. I'm like, we're in the middle of a conversation, and it's like somebody kicked open the door to your house and like, we're here. And I'm like, what are you? We're having a conversation. What's wrong with you? Didn't your parents teach you better? So I think if you have a friend group of streamers and that is what you do within your friend group, I think that that's amazing. But I think if there's not a conversation about it, or you were not invited to the party, kicking open the door and screaming your name hundreds of times over is rude. It just feels rude. But I've also said that that's not something I like because it gets distracting in the chat, and I'm trying to answer questions and engage with my community. So being rated like that really throws me off and feels almost aggressive. But if it's something like, hey, I'm streaming before you're streaming, we're going to end and come over, and I know that this is happening, I'm like, all right. And then I'll say to my stream, hey, we've invited so-and-so over. They're going to be joining our party around 7. so we know that they're coming. Don't come to my house unannounced and start creating a fuss. No, I'm too old for that shit. It's not Twitch. Like, I've not seen it done outside of gaming on YouTube. And I think there's a culture to streaming. I also think there's a culture to how you behave in streaming chats as another creator. There's definitely creators that come into chats trying to pull attention to their channels and trying to like fish your audience if they're in the same niche. It's just rude. There is streaming etiquette, and it depends on the niche as to whether rating is part of the streaming etiquette or not.
I've had, because gaming, I've had the opposite experience. Sorry, Rob, I already talked a lot.
Dan, can you just go to the live control room for our stream and then share it if you can? Because you were mentioning that there's no facility to, I guess, encourage people to raid a live stream. I think there is now.
You can. You can send people to the live stream.
If you go to edit.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. This is new.
And is it customization? It's like you can set a trailer. Redirect, yeah. Now I think you can only I can't remember what it actually does. If you click add, where can we send people? Is it to, so can we send people to just a video after this is finished, or a live stream? Because we should probably start doing that.
Well, it doesn't. We should be sending them to our own videos. This is your videos, and I don't have a link right now, so I don't think I can do anything about this without a link to somewhere.
I just thought, well, yeah, I'm not sure how this works. I really should do.
I would have loved if this was available, as there are times when I will premiere a video on a topic and then stream after to do a Q&A. It would be so helpful to be like, hey, this is my created content that I edited that took time, and then I'm going to be live after it. I think it would be great for that. I love this new functionality.
This functionality came in, and the idea was, if you have a big video to premiere, you can jump on live beforehand and then automatically redirect people to that video. So you get them all hyped up to watch your big release, the thing you've been hyping for months, you know. And for us, we could be queuing up Rob's newest video, for example. But it's just one extra step, you know, we got to take, which is really interesting.
I like trailers too. I haven't used them much, but I think I like the functionality of it.
Yeah.
Especially as you get ready to do different stuff. I mean, if I had the time, half the time I don't have time to do thumbnails before I stream. So, I mean, so it just depends on the timing. I know not everybody does streaming on the fly as much.
So gaming on YouTube, I will say I have been rated a handful of times. Definitely doesn't happen as much on Twitch. I like it and I don't, for different reasons. I like actually getting rated. It gives me a really good opportunity to meet a fellow creator in my space that maybe I wanted to meet anyway, you know. And so I could in turn raid somebody else who I'm kind of, you know, interested in maybe networking with in the future. And I've definitely used that as a strategy. So there is some like networking opportunities there. The thing I don't like is sometimes you get a raid when you're trying to end your stream, and you're trying to end your stream strategically so you can go eat dinner or whatever it is. And then you feel obligated to stay a little bit longer, at least, because someone just sent all their viewers to you and you're trying to like get, okay, well, I'm me and this is what I do. So that can be a little bit frustrating. And then there's the pressure to then raid again, pass the torch, you know, to kind of keep it going. And that's where things get a little sticky, because on back in my Twitch days, I would try and share the love, right? And all the people I normally follow wouldn't be online, but I already said I'm gonna do a raid. So I'd find a channel with some viewers, and I would just cross my fingers that they would be a channel appropriate for my audience, because I would generally be family friendly. And there's a few times where it just did not work out. And I found myself embarrassed because I just sent everybody to somebody who I didn't enjoy their content. I knew my audience would enjoy their content. So there's a lot that goes into it. I think if you're going to raid responsibly, you know, maybe make some friends first in your community, which you should be doing anyway. You should be joining the communities where people are, and you can start to follow people based on the more you know about them. And that way, if you are going to raid somebody, you know what you're getting into. And if you get raided by somebody, you know, just be prepared to react accordingly as well. And this is all kind of tailored to gaming. I can see Emily's points though, and that can be very distracting. And
it is, if it's not a free flow, because my stream is like content then conversation. So if it's not a free flow gaming where you can be like, oh, hey, come on in, what's up? It can be disruptive, not just to the community, but to the creator. And I think if that's set up beforehand, that's part of your group, that's fine. But also, I'm a law commentary streamer, so like I'm not anticipating that. So it's not a conversation again. So there are times that it strikes me as rude because in the commentary community, rating is not something you see at all.
Right.
It seems to be something that's kind of in the gaming community and then in the Twitch space, because those are more free flowing style streams. But what you said about sending people to other creators, I think that's the same on YouTube too. It's gotten interesting with trying to even collab, which is another way to expose your audience to new creators and to expose you to new creators in complementary spaces. But if you are not prepared to know a lot of what people have said in the past, what they've done on Twitter, if you burn your community by going on with a creator that is kind of against your community values, that can also be problematic. And it's something I'm very mindful of when creators reach out and want to either collaborate or have a chat. And it's an interesting position for me because I see myself as a resource channel to a lot of different communities. I just bring the legal side of it. I don't follow, in the Bravo community, I don't follow every Bravo podcast, everything all the housewives say off of the show. I just bring the legal side to the dramas that they're finding themselves in. So I don't always know everything a creator has ever said. If I'm like, yes, we can have an interview. So it's something that I have also become more mindful of and actually have help looking into what is going on with people in their communities before I bring my audience to them, because when I've said yes too quickly, it has burned me. And I'm not worried about me. I'm more worried about burning my community. If I come onto a stream and I double your stream because my community shows up, I don't want my community to feel burned by that or feel pressured by that. And so I'm very, very mindful that where I go, I do bring people with me because we're a community. And it's like bringing all your friends, like worlds colliding, right? You bring all your friends to somebody else's house and then that person's a shitty host and you're like, damn it, I shouldn't have brought everybody here. Now I'm embarrassed. And so it's stuff to be mindful of as you're growing a community, that you don't just think about what you want to do, but you also think about what's right for your community. It becomes a we conversation, not just a me conversation.
I also tend to leave if I'm part of the audience and the streamer I'm watching wants to do a raid. I tend to leave before the raid starts because I already made a pretty large time commitment for this person, and it's always like the perfect time to kind of bail. It's kind of like when you're watching a video and you sense it's wrapping up and you end up clicking off of it to the next video. That's how I feel about raids. And I know that I'm kind of, I don't know if I'm in a minority, but I feel like a lot of people feel that way, and a lot of people will at least join the raid out of respect, if nothing else, and say hello and then bail. But I don't want to be that person that comes in only for a moment, says hi, and then leaves. Because I know what it's like to get raided, have 100 people show up, and then when the dust settles, you're back to the viewership you were at. So it was just like a surprise interruption, and then no one really got to know who you are. No one really stuck around. So yeah, there's a lot of things that go into it. Interesting topic for sure.
The scene in Old School where Will Ferrell's running around going, "We're going streaking! We're going streak! Come with me!" That's how I feel about rating. Don't be the old drunk guy.
That's so good.
It's a great question though, and it goes to community, because my kid's 13 and he and his friends raid each other on Twitch all the time. They're playing the same games and stuff, but that's within their community. That's a way to show friendliness and camaraderie, but that's not true in my niche.
I think this was from yesterday, Rob. I think we did some damage here. I think we should probably address this. Should I change?
If you don't like pizza, then yes, you should change your channel name.
Well, look at the avatar.
It's cake. Yeah.
What was the channel about again? Now I'm trying to remember.
It better be about pizza or
it's
cake.
Not about pizza.
It was about neither.
I think they were doing some kind of meme style content or something. In which case, I kind of liked the combo of like, I like pizza, picture of cake, videos that have nothing to do with it. So I was just gonna say it's kind of up to you. You could make it more about the thing you're doing on YouTube if you wanted to, but I think the channel names are important, but I don't think they're the most important. I think you can
depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to build a community, you can't build a community on a channel called I Like Pizza if that's not what your channel's about, though.
Yeah, I think for building a community, it's important to have something that people can feel like they're like a part of, you know. And if your channel name has nothing to do with the videos you post and your videos aren't consistent in some way, like if there's no, it's good. It helps you have like a foundation for like a theme that your community can kind of latch on to, like vidiots.
Like vidiots.
Wasn't what's the channel that's blowing up right now? Beluga. Is that the name of a channel? I'm trying to remember now.
I don't. It sounds familiar.
I'd have to search on my internet. It's so terrible right now, but I'll probably break my internet trying to find the channel.
Don't break your
you see, the
internet
thing
trying to
is,
find the channel.
the thing is, we remember this person from yesterday because of that contrast in terms of a channel name and the strange avatar. So they've already won one of the battles, which is to have something memorable about their channel. So should they change right now? I'm not quite sure. I think they've got to do a lot more reinforcing in their contents. But that's probably, I don't think the channel name is probably the problem they have right now.
Yeah, I think it was the content when we looked yesterday, which is why if you're going to focus on anything, if you're going to like bash your head against the wall, like I got to fix my YouTube channel, I gotta get this thing right, I would focus more on the content. The name can happen later. If you think of something one day while you're just making breakfast or something, perhaps pizza, you can then say, oh, I'll just go change this right now, you know, but you can change it at any time. And as you're growing, I would encourage you to do that without really worrying if it's going to alter your stats in some way.
This was the channel I was thinking of.
Beluga.
Which is just doing loads of weird, funky stuff, but they're getting millions and millions of views right now. So it does become a question of, is the channel name going to make or break you at this point? Probably not.
When the avatar and the name become this recognizable, though, like that's when you need to be careful. And I've seen larger channels, not than this, but I'm saying I've seen larger channels in the tens of thousands of subscriber range change their names, you know, and change their avatars. And for me, my strategy would be to change one at a time. You know, change the name and hopefully it's kind of similar, you know, and then change the avatar after some time has passed. And just, it's like anything on YouTube. If you make a change, kind of watch the data, see what happens from there.
I think it goes back to the goal too. I mean, a channel like Beluga is not a creator that wants to be a personal brand as a creator. It might be an experimental channel of another creator. It could be a Mr. Beast test channel for all anybody knows, but they're creating a channel to create a channel for a certain kind of content. I would imagine not necessarily for a community or for a personal brand. So it really depends on the goal. You can be a successful faceless YouTuber, and some people may want to do that for a lot of very valid reasons. And YouTube allows you to do that, which is really incredible.
So I pulled this one up because I think it's a good question. You mentioned past weeks about separating YouTube money and personal money. Do banks let you start up another account under your name, or do you need to make a business account?
Business account, because even if it's a separate personal account, it's still not a business account. So separating your money into a business account is what we mean by separating. And if you aren't watching my coverage of the Tom Girardi, Erica Girardi bankruptcy fraud shit show, we're seeing when this goes wrong. They are paying personal credit cards out of the law firm fund. Erica Girardi, young woman, if you guys aren't familiar, young woman, hot, what kind of showgirl-esque, marries older rich dude. Tell me that you're shocked with your shocked Pikachu face. And he gives her a credit card, it seems, and is like, just put it on the AMX. She spends $14 million on the American Express over time.
As one does. He wasn't paying. When I first said it on stream, I was like, oh, 14,000. Okay. I mean, people spend 14,000 over a number of years on a credit card. And the stream is like, Emily, you're missing a comma. And I went back. I was like, oh shit, that does say 14 million, which is why I pull the documents up on screen so that if I misspeak, I don't give wrong information. But he was paying the credit cards, the personal credit cards, out of the business account. Now that this business is in bankruptcy, they are going after her for the $14 million that he improperly paid. This is what happens when you don't separate your money. If he had paid himself out of the law firm into a business account,
or into a personal account and then pay the credit cards, it wouldn't be the same conversation. But no, business account directly to personal, it's the same vice versa. So yes, you need a business account depending on how much money you are making. So, and I saw a follow-up review on the follow-up question from Short Reviews. You can set up a business bank account with an EIN as a sole proprietor. You do not have to set up an LLC first. Whether you as an individual business owner should set up an LLC is determinant on a lot of different factors. And I have the guide that we linked, and we can link it again, emilydbaker.com/bizguide, and it can walk you through some of that thought process, and you can ask CAs, accountants, what have you. But you can do it as a sole proprietor with an EIN. So
I have another question coming up here about LLCs, but I wanted to very quickly
we'll do this
tackle
first.
this one. Is streaming a good idea? I think it's a pretty general question, and I think the answer from all of us would probably be it depends. It would depend on what you're doing. Are other people in your space streaming, and are they having some success? It could mean two things. If they're not streaming, it could mean that there's not a lot of interest. Many have tried, few have succeeded, or it means you found a niche where maybe there's a hole that you can fill as being one of the only people who's streaming that thing. So as with anything, you can test it, but don't be afraid to test things like that. That whenever we talk about testing things, that's exactly what we're talking about. We're trying to help you for yourselves answer these types of questions. This is the business guide or there was the business guide on the stream. Thank you, Rob.
We'll link it. I think streaming can be a very good idea. But there's also things you need to know about streaming, and you need to know yourself. How many of in the gaming space, you see gamers get called out for what they say on stream. If you're talking for 3-4 hours on stream a couple times a week, eventually you're going to say something, and you're just like, oh shit, that came out wrong, or oh shit, that shouldn't have been said that way.
You mean like when Dan talked about child trafficking last week?
Last month, yes, exactly like that.
But last month, not yeah.
Stuff does come out differently when you're streaming.
That was defending Indefensible, I seem to remember.
It was. So you need to know yourself as a creator first, and you need to know yourself as a person first, so that you are comfortable speaking contemporaneously and are comfortable with, if you get questions that you don't want to answer, saying, oh yeah, we'll get to that another time, or I'm not answering that, or wow, that's really personal, no thanks. So it really depends on you. I love streaming. It's the most comfortable way for me to communicate. I like the conversation. I also don't love spending time editing. I don't want to put B-roll in videos. All of that gives me anxiety. If you love creating beautiful videos, do it. Streaming is not going to do that for you.
Right.
I like to talk. Shocked Pikachu face. And so streaming works very well for me. But there are YouTube creators that love the process of creating content, of getting the camera in their hand, and of shooting the thing and then talking about it too. And if that's you, streaming's not going to fulfill that. And then your content is so different. If people are used to really polished content with B-roll and music and all of it, then streaming is going to feel very different to them from your normal content. If your normal content, my uploads, my VODs that aren't streamed are still me talking in a box. The content is similar either way. So just making sure that you're not really penduluming your channel between two different types of content is also the same. Like iJustine, I love her videos. Her videos are beautiful. And she streams elsewhere. She doesn't stream on her main channel because of that. She has a look and feel to her channel. So I hope that there's a lot that goes into this decision. It's not just today we'll stream.
But I think a lot of people do wonder if, well, YouTube has this thing I can do. Should I be doing it? Is that required for the growth of my channel? And I just want to stress that YouTube has shorts, stories, the community tab, the ability to upload videos, and the ability to stream premieres. And you don't have to use any of them, or you can choose to use all of them or a combination thereof. And you can find any number of channels that have grown doing a combination of all sorts of things, or just one. So everything YouTube offers you as a creator is a tool that you can choose to use or not to use. And if you're curious about it, I would encourage you to test it, especially if you have ideas for what your streams could be like. And I would take the advice from earlier in today's live stream and when we talked about the preparation Emily does going into a live stream, so that it's, you know, it gets to the point and it takes into account the people who are watching after the fact. So that way you're creating content both live and in the moment, and you have a video on your channel then that people can find, and they can feel like, I didn't need to see this live. I still got a lot out of this. I didn't feel like I was missing anything. Timestamps can be great for that. You can also edit your streams with YouTube's own editing tools. Do you have to use those to succeed? No, you can choose not to, but you can also cut off your intro if you want and then post the video without, you know what I mean?
I
After
will
the stream's
note,
over.
if you do that, you lose the live chat. You cannot
Yes.
get the live chat replay,
Yeah.
which is why I changed the way I intro my videos. I used to do a countdown, like going live in, you know, a minute or whatever, as if it were a premiere video, and then lop that off at the end. And all of my comments were, I want to see the live chat. Where'd the live chat go? I want to feel like I'm part of this conversation, because that's how I've built my channel and my community. And the live chat's gone, and I feel like I'm missing a part of the content that I very much want to engage in. So I realized, oh, I need to change the way I'm doing my content so that what my audience is looking for is still there. So I don't do a countdown. I go live. You see me doing this. I talk about what I'm going to talk about. So it's like a YouTube video. This is what we're covering in this video. Replay crew, timestamps down below, then the intro, then saying hello, then into content. And sometimes I take a poll. Hey, we're doing these 3 stories today. What do you guys want to hear first? And so as the intro is going, the poll goes, and then the live audience gets to direct the content real time. We duplicated Dan for a second there. It's very exciting. But the live audience, there's a benefit for showing up live. You get to direct, hey, I'm here to talk about Britney. It's Britney, bitch. Let's do that first. Or, hey, I want to hear this story. Let's do that second. And so the live audience does play a part. It's almost like a choose your own adventure when we get to the polls. I love that feature so much.
Rob's hostage cam has engaged. Sorry, ignore the extra me for a minute. We have another one here. So should a creator start an LLC before creating a channel? I think this is that'd be a pretty big thing to do, I would say. I've started lots of YouTube channels, and if I had to start an LLC before launching into any project, that would be kind of a headache.
Wait till you are knowing that you're going to be monetized. Generally, there are exceptions to that. If you are doing a channel where you're going to do like jackass style pranks and somebody could get hurt during filming, you are going to need to make sure that you are doing that. If you are just creating videos on your own and you don't have liability issues to be concerned with, once you are monetized, then absolutely start to evaluate whether you need an LLC. In California, you will spend at least $1,000 to create an LLC. At the beginning, that money might be better spent going into creating your channel and making sure it's something that's going to monetize and that you are going to use.
So there you go. All right. Let's see here. Okay. So this one, question for Emily. I'm a motivational / entrepreneurial podcast. And what's your best advice for using really short clips, maybe from a movie, shows, videos? What should I do? So I guess they want to use clips in their
copyright
content.
We have a couple videos on this channel that really in depth go over what the court's process is for evaluating fair use. Understanding fair use matters. Understanding the legal definition of fair use versus what YouTube allows. They can sometimes be different. YouTube's not the law. And then understanding fair use is a defense to copyright. You can still get sued and end up spending $100,000 to prove that you used it fairly. And I broke that down on my channel with regard to Ethan Klein's lawsuit with regard to Matt Haas and fair use. He won, but at what cost? So understanding how you can use stuff for fair use. I think there's a channel that I love that reacts to like trailers and stuff, Screen Crush, and Ryan Airy's channel, and just does a very good job of showing you how they are breaking it down. Those are fair use, commenting, breaking it down, recreating it. So we have a couple videos talking about that, but making sure you understand that area for yourself. You can't just repurpose somebody else's content. It has to be for a purpose. And if it's like, I'm showing this clip from the movie because I'm giving commentary on that, understand what that looks like. And I think looking at some of the channels that do that very well, like Screen Crush, it can be instructive too.
From a legal perspective, is it okay to play retro game ROMs on your channel? Now, for anyone who doesn't know, a ROM is basically you most commonly see these with emulators. So let's say you wanted to play GameCube games, but you didn't have a GameCube. You could go ahead and download an emulator, which will play ROMs, which are basically just the games. ROMs are games, and it's pretty sticky because I haven't looked into this in a very long time, but I think this is a myth. They say if you actually physically own the game, but let's say you just don't have the ability to stream it off the console itself, you can download ROM and do it that way. I don't know if that's true, but that's why it's so like dangerous to
because
kinda
it
get
sounds
into
like you're
this.
not owning the game.
Because
So it's not transformative use because you're not playing it, because you're not owning it.
basically ROMs. The best way to describe them is piracy, because you can just download them for free off these websites. In fact, Nintendo just shut down a huge. You might want to look into it. Nintendo shut down a huge ROM supplier and demanded that they actually delete, even on for their own use, like all of their ROMs. So it's definitely a whole thing.
So it sounds like you're saying if somebody's taking Livewire music and streaming it on their YouTube channel, or LimeWire music and streaming it.
Well, you can't do that anyway, but you can stream games on your channel. The question of ownership comes in because it's a
Right.
ROM. You didn't buy the game, and now it's like, well, wait a minute.
If
Everyone
the
else
underlying
is
thing is pirated, then that's a problem.
right, exactly. So what they're asking is, if it's a ROM, am I in trouble? And
If the underlying thing is pirated, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
without looking into it more deeply, without giving legal advice, if the underlying thing is pirated, that's a problem. I talk about this a lot with like the Nike Satan shoes and the aftermarket modification market, right? You can create car modifications and sell them. You can buy car parts and sell them. You can buy a pair of Nike shoes, modify them, and resell them. Streaming is I think you can analogize it to the resale market, but if you never bought the underlying thing, you can't resell it. And there's a lot of ground shifting in the resale market too, as Nike and others are trying to shut down customizers in the shoe market. So we're going to continue seeing this area shift, but best practices is if the underlying thing's a problem, then it's going to be a problem.
all right,
That helps.
Yeah, that was a interesting thing to share. At least I hope we answered Koifish's question.
Yeah.
It's very sticky. I would definitely avoid it, especially without doing extra research. When
Yes.
when you own the cart, meaning cartridge. So yeah, if it's a classic game, but there's really no good way to stream that, but you own the cartridge, I mean, maybe this might be a matter of going to the developer of that game, if that's possible, and saying, I want to stream it, but here's my problem. Is this okay? I already own it. Picture of you holding up the game if you want to prove it. Maybe with express permission, but usually ROMs are territory that you don't want to be getting into on the internet anyway, because it's pirated material, and at the very, very least, you're risking viruses on your computer.
Urban Noise Music brought up a point in the chat and said, funny enough, Nike actually has customization on their own site officially, which is part of why I think they're going after the customization market, the aftermarket market, which is going to be an interesting legal battle because now it's a service that they're offering. But once you buy the thing, you're allowed to modify. You're allowed to modify it and resell it. So, yep. Jensen Jupiter asked a very, very important question that we need to address.
This one?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is the answer yes? Or...
The answer is yes. You know why? Like, there's skins for like characters that I love, like Tomb Raider, just look like crap. Also, my kids keep trying to recreate the dances, and it drives me nuts. So yes, Fortnite should be illegal. Defend the indefensible.
I couldn't defend that position.
I'm just partly joking. I loved the social commentary in the Free Guy movie about games like Fortnite. I thought it was fantastic. So yes, Fortnite should be illegal. It was a good question.
Let's see. So just as a reminder to everybody in chat, we are specifically today looking for questions around community. And of course, if you have questions related to legality, YouTube and the law, today's a great day to ask those questions. So I am deliberately seeking out questions right now.
I think people forget that there are when it comes to the law stuff, there are two things that you need to remember. One, I fought the law, and the law, one, is actually instructive advice, and two, mo money, mo problems. Also, actual constructive advice. If you go with those two things and ask, if I fight the law on this, will the law win? Yes. Okay, don't do it. And two, have I started making more money, and am I thus going to have more problems? Yes. That's where the next level money shit comes in and making your business. Your YouTube channel can go from earning $100 a year to $30,000 a month very, very quickly. The reason I talk about the legal stuff is so you can be prepared for that. Can you use live recordings of a copyright? The copyrights on live music are so freaking interesting because I have a podcast episode about Taylor Swift and whether she was going to have the rights to perform her own music live when she was receiving I think it was a CMA Lifetime Achievement Award or Artist of the Decade or something, but she's fighting with her former label so that she doesn't have all of the copyrights to her old music, but wanted to perform them live because live performance rights are different than recording rights. Generally, no. But live performance of a music is different than a streaming performance of music. So if you're going to perform it live, it's different copyrights and permissions than you would need to stream the same thing. And that was the issue with Taylor Swift. So I would listen to that episode if you want to go find it on the Emily Show podcast, because she could perform the music live, but she wasn't being allowed by her label for it to be televised because they're different copyrights. Music copyright is deeply complex, and the ownership in music is deeply complex, which is why you see artists like Taylor Swift and Kanye West yelling about the music industry. So they were like, well, yeah, you can perform it at the CMAs, but no, they can't air it. Or the AMAs, I think it was. You can perform it, but they can't air it. And this is where the copyrights became an issue. So singing music is one thing live, performing it is different rights. Streaming live recordings of copyrighted music is never going to fly unless you own the copyrights. Copyright's very complex. It seems like it shouldn't be complex. Copyright music is so complex. I could talk about that. This is why we're law nerds, because there's copyrights to the lyrics. There's copyrights to the melody and instrumentation. There's copyrights to the entirety of the performance when you put all three together. There are different copyrights or different releases to perform it live. So if you're like Dave Matthews Band performing Burning Down the House, that's different rights than if you're Taylor Swift trying to sing her own music that her label owns on the AMAs.
If I was to start a new channel and post long form content, but I get a copyright strike, would that stop me from getting monetized?
Why'd you get a copyright strike? I like pizza.
Yeah.
Was it from Domino's? I want to know.
Is my audio working?
Yes.
Am I somehow
yes.
back? So I can answer this question a little bit. I just did a video that was launched on Monday. And according to YouTube's monetization screen, it says that copyright strikes will not strictly make you ineligible for monetization. Having said that, there is a difference between eligibility and then being actually accepted into the YouTube Partner Program, because at some point a human reviewer will look at the channel. So if they look at the channel and see that you've got copyright strikes, then they may decide that your channel is not appropriate for monetization. Copyright strikes of any kind are never a good thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't monetize your channel. Maybe just don't ever do it again if you can avoid it.
Next one here. Where can you find an audience or a community beyond Discord and Reddit? So kind of interesting one. I picked it because I think that the person's asking the wrong questions. If we're talking about YouTube, which we generally do here, we would encourage you to build your community on YouTube and then use these other tools related to community to help bring them together and closer to you. So it's not really about going into a Reddit and trying to pull people to your YouTube channel. It's more about using YouTube as a platform to grow that brand, whatever it is you do on YouTube. And then eventually you find the need to connect with your audience further, and that's where a Discord could come in. Now, that being said, you can also use like subreddits and things like that to ingratiate yourself into someone else's community or the community for the thing you talk about. Like for games, most games have their own Discord or their own subreddit or whatever, and then you can use them to learn and create content around them. I'm always telling gaming channels, like, go into the Discord community of the game you play and learn about all the challenges that people in there are facing, and then just start taking notes. Maybe while you're in there, you can answer some of the questions because you know the game so well, you know the topic so well. But ultimately, what you're trying to do is create more content. So it kind of goes both ways. But the point is, to grow your own community, you want to be growing on whatever platform it is, in this case, YouTube, and then building out from there. If no one has anything to add, I'm going to silently look for questions.
I think, oh, go ahead.
I was sorry if you just said this, Dan, because my internet cut out again, but I don't think it's a case of finding an existing community. It's you, I think, as the creator, become the conduit through which a community is built, be it through shared beliefs, shared passions, shared interests. And there are obviously sometimes communities that build that you wouldn't even realize could be communities. And I think Emily is probably a prime example of this. People are really interested in the lore behind celebrity drama, YouTube drama, and they all have this independent shared interest. And then Emily kind of is the platform for people to realize, hey, there's other people who are interested in this, and now we can all talk together about this shared things. Building your own community is always going to be far more powerful than trying to find somebody else's and almost trying to amalgamate them into a community that you might build. But Emily, go ahead.
I think there's kind of two parts to that, because my content spans different communities, because I end up being kind of expert or resource content that spans, like, the Bravo fan and Housewife community is different than the Duggar community. So when I'm talking about Josh Duggar, I will get a bunch of comments like, girl, why do you curse so much? Bless your soul. And I'm like, no. This is how my channel is. You're welcome to stay or not. So people will find me through different interests, because I will talk about housewives, Britney Spears, Elizabeth Holmes, criminal trials, constitutional law, First Amendment rights. And then I think a lot of people will stay because they're like, oh, you've made this very interesting. What else are you talking about? And I will see that average, videos viewed per viewer be in the 7s, because people are like, oh, I like the way you explained this. What else do you talk about? And that builds my community. So my topics will touch on other communities and what they're talking about in my way, but then it helps build the law nerd community. And then when I collaborate with people, I will find them coming into my community too, saying, hey, I found you on Phil DeFranco. I found you on H3H3. Love the way you explain things. Love the community you've built. Love the vibe in your chat. My chat is not Thunderdome. So when people find me from other communities, they stay for the law nerd community. So I think you can reach into different communities topically and create these kind of overlaps and almost like a Venn diagram. And I see it in the back end of my channel. When I look at the channels my audience is watching, it's true. When I look at the channels my audience is watching, they're the channels I'm watching too. And that's how I feel like I'm in the sweet spot, is that we're all talking about the same things and having the same conversations. And then when somebody asks me to, when Phil DeFranco's like, hey, can we talk about this thing? The answer is yes. But I also know that my audience is also watching Phil. So then my audience sees me on Phil. His audience is like, oh my God. And then I've got people I went to law school with being like, why are you on YouTube? So it's kind of a 3-part answer to the question. I hope that makes sense.
Question: what should I do if other people are using my recorded sounds and videos?
I need more of a question than that. It depends on how they're using it. If it's fair use, nothing. If it's not fair use, YouTube has great matching tools. So if somebody is like re-upping your video, you can reach out to them, ask them to take it down, and then ask YouTube to take it down. But if they're using it in fair use, don't be that creator who's like, I don't like the way they're talking about me, so I'm going to say that this isn't fair use when it actually is fair use. That's that. If somebody's harassing you, that's different. YouTube has absolute ways that you can go about working with that, but don't claim something if it's not being used improperly just because you don't like it. Use the other tools for that. You probably have a more in-depth answer about what YouTube does, but it depends on how it's being used, I guess, for me.
So It's kind of interesting from Jensen Jupiter. I understand the boundaries of getting copyright claim, but what would get you copyright striked? And do strikes ever go away?
That's a deeper YouTube question for you. You know, vidiots.
I was letting Rob jump in.
I can't remember if copyright strikes go away.
Isn't there? I know there's a period where if you get so many in a period, you get yeeted from the platform. But I think YouTube has a memory within a period of time, though, right? It's not free
so
ever,
community.
is it?
Community guideline strikes, they expire after 90 days, but I can't remember about copyright. I seem to think that they don't expire.
Okay. Because copyright fucks with YouTube's money. You guys have to follow the money. You know, if YouTube is breaking the copyright laws, YouTube gets in trouble. So YouTube has to regulate their platform in a way that they're not going to get fined billions of dollars by the federal government like they did for COPA violations. So when you follow the money, you understand why they do that with strikes. But again, I don't spend a bunch of time in looking at that realm. I talk about what is and is not copyright, not how YouTube deals with it. So I'm going to refer back to the vidiots.
It's hard to answer because a lot of my YouTube education has come from my own experience, and in my own experience, I don't really deal with copyright claims or strikes. And I'm always kind of shocked when I find somebody who deals with it all the time. I'm like, oh,
how?
You know,
what are
how?
You doing?
Like the rules
what are
are
you
pretty
doing?
clear. Yeah, exactly. Like Twitch had that whole fiasco with DMCA takedowns, and it was from their video on demand content getting pulled after the fact. So years worth of clips and memories pulled from the platform. Everyone was very upset. And yes, was it handled poorly? You could argue that, but the fact of the matter was they were using copywritten music that it's always been known you're not supposed to use in your live streams. So they took the risk, and it didn't pay off in the end. And so it's always been kind of confusing to me. Like, well, the rules are clear, you know, and these platforms are not, yes, it's your YouTube channel, but at the same time, it's YouTube's platform, and they have to protect their bottom line. As Emily said, follow the money. And but them doing that enables all of us to continue creating. So I can't be like too bothered when it happens like in mass like that.
I'm not mad about it. I don't love stealing other creators' work. I also don't love when creators are like, you can't use this clip of me saying this thing. That's not fair use, when it is fair use. I think there's a misunderstanding of the law. I also think there are segments of YouTube that weaponize the strike system, and YouTube's actually getting sued for not yeeting creators that weaponize the strike and claiming system. And I think we'll see YouTube narrowing down on that because it makes it more comfortable creators knowing if somebody's improperly using this system, then they should be taken off the platform. You can't just strike everybody or do privacy claims, and you can't get your audience to mass flag people. Those all violate terms of use, and it should be enforced. But I'm a lawyer that was a prosecutor, so I'm very much a rule follower too. And if people have created copywritten content, there are rules in which you can use it and ways that you cannot. And the law is slow to catch up. But I think it is starting to catch up. We see this on TikTok, right? Somebody asked about dances earlier and about copywriting choreography and about how people just copy and recreate content on TikTok and it goes viral, but it's not always the creator that originated the thing. So copyright law is struggling to catch up. Like the woman who invented the renegade dance that went hugely viral on TikTok. She wasn't the creator that went viral doing the dance, but she could have copywritten that choreography. But the law is slow to catch up, and it's difficult to do and to know that you can do. So I'm uneducated about copyright. Don't steal other people's stuff. Yes, we have a couple videos about it on this channel where we've talked in depth about copyright. And it's something, again, that you have to keep an eye on because the law continues to change and evolve with this.
Copyright strikes do expire, by the way, after 90 days. So similar to community guideline strikes.
So copyright claims versus strikes. I feel like we do get this one sometimes when we get into this conversation. Rob, do you have a clean answer for this? I feel like I'm going to ramble.
Search copyright claims versus copyright strikes vidIQ on YouTube, and you get a perfect answer.
Perfect. There we go. Past Rob has got you covered. All right. Looking for questions. Q looking for questions.
How could Rob fix his internet? Not be where he is.
Yeah, move.
I wish. While you're finding another question, I will answer that one a bit more. Basically, a copyright claim doesn't impact your channel in any way, shape, or form. There's no penalties in terms of video performance. It's not a case of if you get 3 copyright claims, the channel's terminated. It essentially means that you can't monetize that content, and it may be blocked in some countries. With strikes, if you get 3 of them, the channel's terminated. So that's the basic answer to the question.
This is a non.
I should also add as well. Sorry, Dan. Copyright claims are automated in that YouTube already has that content on the platform, and so it recognizes it somewhere else, and so it lets the copyright owner know, and they can decide whether to monetize it or not. With copyright strikes, I think somebody has to manually submit a DCAM or whichever
DCMA.
acronym. That's the one. I think they have to manually issue that to take it down, and then DMCA. It's considered a strike because it's much more serious.
Digital Millennium Copyright Act.
Yeah, DMCA.
DMCA. I say it wrong all the time, and I need to, because I want it to be like YMCA, but it's not, and that's why I get it wrong in my head all the time, and I say it wrong all the time, and people are like, the lawyer, other stuffy lawyers that have like law books in their background and shit would be like, how do you keep saying this wrong? I'm like, because in my head I hear like DMCA, and so I get it wrong.
So I chose this one just because I can answer it pretty quick, and it's not related to the topic. But is there another way to record shorts from an Xbox other than holding my phone against the screen?
A PlayStation.
Xbox has built-in recording software, if I recall. I would, no matter what, encourage you never to make gaming content by holding your phone to a screen, because it's not even worth competing that way. Invest in yourself, invest in a capture card. If your console does not support recording into the console, that is the right way to record gaming content. And then, because it's not going to be square, you need to edit that content to be in the right format, and there's going to be tutorials out there for you to do that. But for the best chances in competing, especially with shorts today, which are very, very competitive, you want to make sure that you're giving yourself the bare minimum, which would be high quality vertical videos or square. Are games that are always copyright claimed, like rhythm games, affect me on getting into the partner program? So basically, like Beat Saber, if you're going to play that on your
keep doing that, Dan. Keep doing that, please.
Yeah, that's how I play Beat Saber, I guess. If they're always getting copyright claimed, I would say that could affect your chances of getting to the partnership program. I would kind of ask why even apply at that point, because all the videos are going to get demonetized anyway.
Right. Yeah. So here's the problem. Like, again, YouTube says that on the monetization screen that copyright strikes, you presume claims, will not impact eligibility. But as you say, Dan, imagine if all your 4,000 hours of watch time are through monetized content. Well, the content's already been monetized on YouTube, regardless of whether or not you're in a YouTube partner program. So what incentive is there to allow you into the YouTube partner program? That's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong. It could be that to the YouTube reviewers, that's irrelevant. But I'm coming from a logic point of view here. There doesn't seem to be any incentive to monetize. And yeah, that is unfortunate, because you're not necessarily doing anything wrong. It's your original content, but there is that copyright music contained within the videos. And it's the same issue for musicians, especially we're doing educational content, cover versions, and so on and so forth.
Why don't you look into modding the game, if that's possible? Because this is possible in some rhythm games, and adding different music in that you can actually use, like stream beats, things like that. You can surf their catalog, and now you're able to make your content, and the music's a little bit different, but it's all on the up and up. So something to think about.
One for Emily here.
Is it against the law that Rob is on vacation? Please save him. Yes. I'm sure the Bobbies will come and pick him up for it. So
I don't know how I'm on vacation when I'm actually literally on a live stream right now. That would seem to suggest I'm not on a vacation. I'm actually working, just in
you work all the time.
Horrible conditions right now. But I'm
it's okay. It's okay, Rob. I won't tattle on you. Let's see. I'm looking for questions.
I'm more offended that he's eating candy.
Just because your camera's off doesn't mean we can't hear that.
Oh, I finished it now. But
They're just fiddling with the wrapper.
ASMR, everybody, right here.
Do you know I have an ASMR channel?
I didn't know that.
Is it where you just read out the law, like paragraph 17, thou shalt not?
I did the Constitution. The next is the Bill of Rights, and then the Reynolds pamphlet. Yep. It started as a joke on my channel, and then I was like, I should just start a channel. So I started a second channel to do there's a legal.
Where
ASMR
is this?
Channel.
Is this a secret
legal
channel?
ASMR? No, it's not. It's not. I mean, it's not secret.
Word.
I teased about it with my audience, and then created it. So I just recorded my second video for that channel. So it's fun. I'm gonna just do historical documents because they're all in Creative Commons. So I couldn't narrate a book that's not within the Creative Commons, but there's so many historical legal documents that we're starting with the ones in the US and then we'll move from there. So that exists in the world.
How can I get rid of copyright claims while using copyrighted material?
Don't use copyrighted material.
Yeah. If you have old copyright claims, my suggestion, if they are legitimate copyright claims, because you can challenge them if you feel like you're in the right. If they are legitimate, though, you could probably just delete the videos. And my advice to you would be to stop doing whatever you're doing that gets you copyright claimed, whether it's using music you're not supposed to use or
it's got to be fair use.
Yeah, it's got to be fair use, and fair use isn't. I'm just going to use the Backstreet Boys in the background of this gaming video I'm making. That's not how that works.
But fair use could be. But I want it that way. Tell me why I can't use copyright music, because the music industry has a lot of money to shut it down and will not allow YouTube to do that shit. Follow the money. Sorry.
All right. Do you want to know what's happening right now on my end here? My internet is broken, and so right now I can hear Emily D. Baker doing ASMR of this, and I can't stop it. So it's playing, and I can't get rid of it.
Fantastic.
Will that fix it? All right. It's turned
there
off.
you go.
I had to close. That was weird.
Is this going to make the next round of Defend the Indefensible not possible?
Maybe
we can try it.
We're at an hour and 47 minutes. We can just do a few more.
Okay.
A few more questions.
Let's see here.
Oh, I've got a really good one though. I've got a really good one for Dan. I reckon we should do it.
What? Right now?
Sure. Why not? I mean,
okay, sure. Why not?
Working right now.
All right. We're going to do some more Defend the Indefensible. Last round of the day. So Rob was pretty eager to go first.
Yeah. No. Well, I'll do you first, Dan. Hang on. I've got to get my online counter working again. Just bear with me. Hopefully the internet's going to work for me to get through this. Dan, this is going to be so easy. This is like an open goal, given my performance during this live stream.
Who won last time?
I think it was getting close. Emily again was winning significantly. Dan, you were in last, so it still does seem like just a favoritism vote right now, which we just cannot win at any point.
No,
but I'm cool with that.
How many subscribers does your channel have here on vidIQ?
Yeah, I don't want to get into
not
that.
enough.
Not
enough. Yeah, clearly
150,000 subs. Y'all are closing in on 1 million right fast.
Yeah,
favoritism.
And that's why subscribers don't mean jack right now. It's all about return viewers. Right,
it's all about community, because my community will ratio channels 5 times my size and more all the time, because the law nerds are the best.
All right, Dan, are you ready?
No.
So this is your Defend It Indefensible.
You're going to lose anyway.
And it looks like... Oh, hang on, I haven't copied and pasted that right. Just give me...
I can see it.
Don't save. Close.
I'm not looking.
Hang on, I'm clicking in the wrong place. Right. Okay. So let me bring this in. Right. Okay. So are you ready, Dan?
Hold on. I got like fog in my eyes after that.
Defend this indefensible, or just defend this thing that's clearly true. Right. You ready?
Okay.
Here we go. Rob, it's time you retired before you run vidIQ into the ground.
I think behind the scenes we've all been kind of thinking this, and not just here internally in the company, but like live stream after live stream. I get emails from our community. Actually, they're like, "Hey, is that Rob guy ever just gonna hang it up? This is getting kind of sad now." And it's true. I mean, how many times do you have to say, "Here's how to get 1,000 subscribers" before you're finally like, "I did it. I covered every aspect of getting 1,000 subscribers, and I can finally, ride off into the sunset."
Oh, perfect. And 100% true. But Dan, can you please forward me those emails so I can sign them up to the same Donald Trump emails that I've been receiving for months right now?
I'll fish them out of my spam folder.
Yeah, please
they got a little out of
do.
control, so I had to filter them.
All right. Who's next?
I have one for Emily.
Perfect.
All right. Let me find the banners here. Okay. That's the right thing. No, create the banner. All right, here we go. 3, 2. Live streams are only meant to be watched live.
Well, why would you watch it after it's live? It's clearly meant to be an event where everybody comes together. Again, to go on my earlier analogy, you don't show up to somebody's house 4 days after the party and go, "Dance, monkey, dance. Can you please entertain me? I'm here now. I'm here on my time." No, I'm the creator. When I am live is when you show up. Not whenever the fuck you feel about it. When I'm live. That's how I create it. That's how it's meant to be viewed. Otherwise, I'm locking my door and y'all can just get out.
Ding, 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 ding.
That's hard to defend.
That was the point.
I know. You guys can be. They are hard questions.
You're a former district attorney.
It's easier to send people to prison than to defend some of this stuff. I'll just say.
I was trying to stump you.
No.
That was the point.
I like the thinking on the feet. Darn it. Now I have to come up with one for you, Dan.
Well, Rob, I thought, right?
It's for me, this one.
Oh, that's right.
You did my
No,
last
good.
one, right?
I'm good. We're out. Yep.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Go.
All right. Wait, what do you mean go? I don't have anything on the screen.
Whatever's happening next.
Wait, so you don't want to do one?
Who am I supposed? Wait, am I supposed to do one for Rob? Oh,
yeah.
See me. ADHD. I lost my. I was like, wait, am I off the hook because I forgot to prepare them? I'm done. Hold on. Awkward silence on a stream is always a good thing.
This is why they're meant to be watched live.
Yeah.
Owned.
Okay. Hold on. There we go.
Okay. I'm going to get this in the banner, and Rob will need to defend.
Wait, what is popping up on the screen?
Oh,
Are those internal communications secretly popping up on the screen?
Yeah, I don't think it was anything too important though. Hang on, it's because I'm sharing a screen rather than a window. Right, there you go. That should fix it. All right, I'm good now.
All right, here we go, Rob.
Yeah, okay.
It's not a vacation unless you're working.
Well, clearly, trying to get married is just not important at all. So instead, what I'm doing here is sat in the most dreadful room I've ever been in for internet connections of any description. I think there's literally a hamster running on a wheel powering my wireless connection right now. And yeah, I don't know how this Indefensible has got anything to do with working instead of vacationing. I've lost my train of thought. I'm done speaking.
I mean, as a creator, you don't get a vacation. That probably should have been my
yeah, that's true.
My question.
That's true.
As a creator, you are not allowed to take a break. The YouTube algorithm will punish you. YouTube cares about creators' mental health, right? And then you take a break, you don't upload for like a week, and you come back and everything's in the gray. And it's like, your views are down because you're not posting as much content. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you. I'm aware. I tried to take a break for just a week.
How
Follow
dare
the money.
you?
How dare you take a break?
You
Same
know,
with you, Rob. How dare you run off and get married and not come to Vid Summit and be streaming on shitty internet?
You know, it's great for breaks. It's video on demand content.
Yeah.
Not when you have to front load it all, Dan, and spend weeks getting it all together.
Not when you make timely content of stuff that's happening that week. It was interesting because I did do VODs when I was gone, and it was still down because my streams just perform better. So now when I'm traveling, I'm trying to figure out how to stream and stream on the road, because I'm going to be streaming on the road for VidSummit, or I'm going to be on the road for VidSummit when there is actually a very big court hearing going on. So I'm going to have to figure out how to stream, and I'm ready to just start reaching out to the other creators and be like, who's bringing a streaming setup, and can I just use it?
Well, what if for vacations you covered like historical court cases, but from like the 1700s? There's got to be some drama.
ASMR channel.
Yeah, there's got to be some drama in there that you can.
I don't know how views would do. I would have to look. Yep. I mean, I'm sure there is. There's plenty of cases to go back. Even like the Scott Peterson cases coming up with motions for retrial. There's plenty of stuff to do. It's just hard because once my head's in like 5 different cases, I'm kind of on that track.
So we are basically right at time. We probably have time to take like 1 or 2 more questions, or we could just spend the last 5 minutes wrapping things up. I'm seeing any questions really.
You're the host, Dan.
Yeah, so let's wrap it up. I guess, Rob, what kind of thoughts, what final thoughts do you want to leave with today?
I apologize, community, wholeheartedly for my terrible performance today. That is all.
You did a great job.
You did a great job, Dan.
You worked through all those challenges live. You should be proud.
Shall I turn on my webcam and see if anyone can actually see if this works? This is what was killing me beforehand. Hey, my blimey.
Lovely.
This looks like it's from the 1980s. Jeez.
It's fantastic. I feel like it's historical.
Yeah, found footage of YouTube creator.
Oh, dear.
Circa 2006. It's like me at the zoo all over again.
Final thoughts from Emily?
Final thoughts on today. Focus on your community first. Everything will grow around that. If you're not sure who the community is that you want to spend time with, spend time on that and not what your next video is going to be, because the purpose of your channel is what will grow your community. And it's okay if you shift. My channel started with an iPhone video, and then a purse video, and then some lifestyle content, and then some planning content. And then it shifted into what it is now. So figure out what the purpose is and who you want to be talking to, and then have those conversations.
My final thought is going to be build your foundation. You don't have to build it all at once. And in fact, if you tried to build a house or a building without a foundation, you can't just slap walls together and try and put a roof on it, because as you're doing that, your walls are falling down and everything's a mess and people get hurt. You get sued, bringing back to the legal aspect of everything today. So what's going on?
He might be in the Blair Witch Project. Or he has a prop, or he's frozen.
Yeah, this has gotten weird.
Marty said he's on AOL. Yes.
So thanks everybody for coming out to our Wednesday live stream. We will do it again next Wednesday. Of course, join us for Tuesday channel audits. Join us for our video on Monday. I'm just going backwards now on all the different things we do. And Emily will be back. You'll be back the first Wednesday of next month, correct?
I think so. Yeah.
Right. That was the scariest bit, right? On Blair Witch Project, when it was just right at the end where one of them was just stood in the corner, facing the corner. That freaked me out.
It was.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good one.
Here. Have a good one.
Yeah, I think so. It's time for us to go.
We got to go. I'm hungry.
Same.